Marketplace with Charles on an 11-day tour of the Holy Land. Take the route Israel traveled to the Promised Land, cross over the Red Sea, and float on the Dead Seas, the lowest point on earth with amazing healing properties. Experience the vibe of Jericho and cruise on the Sea of Galilee to Capernaum, the hometown of Jesus. Visit the pools of Bethesda, Nazareth, Bethlehem, and many more. Walk where Jesus walked and see the Bible come alive. If beautiful memories and an enriched spirit is what you are looking for, then join us in taking Jesus to the marketplace. For more information, call us on +27 72 123 0078 or email israel@artofskincare.co.za.
Welcome to Marketplace with Charles, where dreams are turned into reality. Marketplace is brought to you by Art of Skincare. Art of Skincare, the company that brings out the beauty in you, as well as Kuwisa Lodge, situated in the deep heart of Mabalingwe Nature Reserve, where you sleep, dream, and wake up with the big five around you. If tranquility is what you are looking for, then Kuwisa Lodge is a place to be. I am Charles Ngobeni. On Marketplace, we empower and equip you with tools that you need to reach your entrepreneurial dreams. Each week, we bring you insight from experts in different fields of business, from both men and women full of faith. On today's episode, we meet a certified healthcare practitioner within the sports industry. One of the best ways of starting a business is to identify a gap in the marketplace or a road that is less traveled and determined to be a trailblazer in it. With the right tools, chances are that you are highly likely to be a success. I can't talk of competition, because then competition will definitely be eliminated if you are a trailblazer. Well, I'm sitting here in the studio with Dr. Jerome Mampane. Dr. Jerome, welcome to Marketplace with Charles.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, you look simple. You look classy.
I appreciate that.
Everything within you.
No, I appreciate it.
If someone were to ask you a question, how do you package Dr. Jerome Mampane?
Sure. I think it's just things that drive you maybe when you first start and you determine what you want to be and how you want to be. I was fortunate enough that I had the kind of mentors that made it a very important thing to look after your good name. So that's where it would start, your good name, because that's the thing that remains with you. And I think that's what you're in charge of.
Tell me your background. Where do you come from? What made you to be a success, who you are today? Because I look at you, the success that you have reached, most of us black people, we simply aspire to be like you. Were you born with a silver spoon?
No, I was not. I appreciate the question. No, I think I'm a product of you know, whatever plans God may have put in place. I'm a product of having parents that were prepared for that function. My parents, though, I would turn around and say, actually, they're the ones that I can turn around and look at and say, these are successful people. I look at my own mother, the things that she's done in her life, and how far she's carried herself in her career. And it seems like it doesn't stop. I mean, she gets to beyond 60 and she's still continuing. So I, honestly, from where we started, whether it was from starting up in Pampierstad, moving to Mamelodi, and moving away from very small areas to decisions that my folks had to take about what is it that'll try and package and help me succeed in the journey that I'm supposed to go through. My folks have done that. They've made choices that I think when it was challenging for them financially, when it was challenging emotionally, when it was challenging also from I mean, our history is laid bare. Our history is not a lie in the country. When those things stood in the way, they still made the kind of choices that were about also empowering our lives and also giving us a better platform, my sister and I, that we can step out and do something worthwhile. I didn't look, I mean, honestly, by God's grace, I'm here. I've walked this kind of a path. I wouldn't have said to you, if you asked me at the start of it, 2019, do you see yourself lifting a Rugby World Cup? I wouldn't have said that to you. It's one of those things that I thank God for. It's a memory or something that no one can take away from me.
Talking about lifting the Rugby World Cup, what is it that you do? What does your job entails?
So I started in sports and exercise medicine, or at least that kind of a journey. I would say to maybe even in high school, where there was a choice in terms of, what did I want to do? Did I want to be a sports physio, or did I want to be a sports doctor? What was clear for me is that I couldn't. It was a tough thing. I think when it came to being a professional sports person, there were tough choices you had to make then. And I think there were things that you also had to be realistic with yourself about. Did you have enough talent? Did you have enough capacity to actually play or do things at that level? Mm-hmm. So I realized maybe early on that professional sports is a dream, but just a little bit too far, judging by where I was at that time. And then the choice was pretty easy. I think I had the brains for it, or God gifted me the brains for it. So I had to choose. I chose between medicine and physiotherapy, and a strange thing happened. My father happened to phone a guy called Tim Noakes, professor of exercise and sports medicine back then. And I didn't know this gentleman, but he phones the house on a telecom line to tell me, hey, I'm Tim Noakes. I said, okay, thank you. And then he pointed out to me what we discussed what I want to do. I said, oh, yeah. I was thinking of going into sports as a physiotherapist. Then his recommendation from there was, no, do medicine. And the decision to do medicine was that easy. It's a phone call from someone you don't know. And you choose them. You choose the path. But yes, I have worked in sports and exercise medicine for let's say, just about a decade. I have been privileged enough to have worked at the FIFA World Cup. So I've experienced the football side of it. I had hoped maybe that there'd be more like things like Olympics, and I believe that I was in line for something like that. Mm-hmm. But I know when 2016 came and the new coach, Alistair Coetzee, was selected, I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice whether do you continue as a team doctor for the Springboks rugby team, or do you go to the Olympics? And again, it's not a hard choice. That it's a question of which side your bread is buttered. You've got to choose very easy choices there. Yeah. But what was great was it was a choice between, two great opportunities. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When our South African team, Springboks, won the World Cup, as their medical doctor,
yeah,
what is it that was going through your mind?
Look, I think in the journey leading up to it, we became a bigger medical staff. So Conrad von Hagen took over from me in 2016 as the chief medical doctor, at the end of 2016, as the chief medical doctor for the Springboks. So I became the second, but in it, my role was to look after concussions on field. And then he was roaming the sidelines and tending to players that were on the field. What went through my mind, I couldn't believe it. I think after the journey that I'd walked and the challenges that had happened, I think I'm realistic about certain things. I'm a black person in a sport that we're so few. And it was a very real thing and just completely unbelievable, a surreal moment. I sat asking myself, is this really happening? And it took a while for me to maybe get into it. But once I was into it, it became clear that this is something that I can't explain it. It's something that no one else can take from me.
Honestly speaking,
yeah.
When we see great men and women in the sport field, it's a teamwork.
Yes.
And I presume that the doctors play the most critical role, because if those people are not fit, they wouldn't have won the World Cup.
Maybe sometimes I'm careful of crediting one over the other, What I understand is that to build this team, just the machinations that go underneath what it takes to actually forget just winning a World Cup, but to actually get the team out on a Saturday afternoon to actually play a test match. From logistics to the kit managers to the flights that are booked, the effort that comes with that, or the kit that is supplied to the players, to the physios who work exceptional hours just to make sure that this one gentleman for 80 minutes can just come out on the screen and do what he does best on the field. It is quite a tough thing to get through. I can say that. There are a lot of challenging decisions that you also have to take, and there's no ways with the demands of a job like that it cannot take maybe pieces of you or push you beyond the boundaries that you had set in life. It's a growth position, if I'm honest with you. You grow in multiple ways. You grow inside of yourself from a character perspective. I don't know if you've dealt with, forget just rugby coaches. Let me say, have you ever dealt with football coaches, for example?
I would love to, but my team is currently doing bad, and I wouldn't like to associate myself with them.
No, so my point behind it is that as terribly as your team is doing, when your team is actually underperforming at that point, the kind of pressure that comes onto a team is I think most people look at it from the outside and add to the pressure, but the level of pressure, the amount of walking on eggshells, and also while still trying to drive yourselves up to a place where you can perform, it's quite a thing to behold. So I don't regret my experiences. I'm privileged enough to turn around and say to you, I have seen Springbok rugby at its worst, in my view at least, and then I've seen Springbok rugby at its peak. And it's an interesting thing to be able to contrast both experiences all within the space of 4 years. And I could literally turn around and say to you, the worst moment I could have thought of was losing to Italy, which I think the Springboks had never lost to in our lives.
Well, Dr. Jerome, I think we need to take a break. I need to go out there and try and find out some more black doctors to join you. Maybe I'll find others after the break. Viewers out there, we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Marketplace with Charles. I am still sitting here with a great man, a rare commodity, Dr. Jerome Mampane, the doctor for the Springbok World Cup champion. Doc, I guess even in your field, you lifted the cup, you lifted the glory, but there were challenges. Let's talk about the challenges within the field, because sometimes we glorify these people, we look at the successful people, we think they have it all good. Like for instance, I am sitting here with you today. Nobody except my family knows that I did not sleep last night, because I worked during the day, I worked at night, and I'm still working now with you. And nobody knows it. What challenges are there?
Maybe it's twofold, and it's easy to say to you, if it's questions of challenges leading up to a tournament and leading up to winning a World Cup, those I can describe to you. I can go into them. And then if it's questions of challenges of just progressing in this career and getting to this point, those are different challenges. Again, look, I'm uniquely aware of where I've come from. I'm uniquely aware of what I look like. And I'm uniquely aware of the challenges that still remain within our country. It was a challenging thing, I think, to be removed as Springbok team doctor in 2016. Very challenging, that's the honest truth. I wondered how come, why, how did this happen? And what steps did I need to take? I don't know. It felt like a dream that was robbed of me. And for a long time I was very angry. I didn't understand, one, the reasons, two, what could I have done better? But I think sometimes when you go through these experiences, maybe God allows you to go through these things so that you can solidify certain ideas and ideals inside you, and perhaps some part of you has to grow a little bit. And sure, that was my desert moment. I needed to go through that desert, as angry as I was, and to come back after that. But the challenges that lay within is always how, one, you are confident of how you do what you do. I took a bit of a knock, and the question is, does that change the quality of what you're capable of doing, the capacity of what you've been doing? And part of me part of me is still learning that, you know, as much as you are your brand, you do rely on the feedback you get from people, whether it's conscious or subconscious. You do rely on those external experiences. They challenge how you view yourself as a clinician, how you view yourself as if you judge yourself as a successful clinician, you measure your successes according to that feedback as well. So I mean, you can imagine the feedback I was getting from my organization is, sorry, maybe you're not good enough to stay here. Yeah. And the feedback I was getting from potentially players is, sorry, maybe you're not good enough to stay here. Mm-hmm. And I mean, thankfully, you know, they stuck with me. Whatever challenges they were and whatever growth points that they felt I needed to go through, they stuck with me and created opportunities for me to build on that. And yeah, I mean, I can't fault SA Rugby for at least giving me the opportunity, even, you know, to just come back, to bounce back and do something. But that in itself has been quite a journey. I wish that maybe I don't take the worst out of it with me, but rather take the positives, that I can maybe impart something to my own children to say, look, you know, you can be on the way down, but find things to do better. Just take the next step. It's a strange thing. It's always one step after another. When I spoke with some rugby players last week, the thing I was saying to them is that it's just one step after the other, especially when things are going wrong. Just look at what the next step is, take the next step.
And you proved your critics wrong.
Yeah.
Today you're the best sports doctor in the world. And we honor you for that.
No, I appreciate that title. It's a strong one.
Can you say there's a need for more black sports doctors out there or not? Absolutely.
I think in the country that we're in, where we are so many years down the line, to me, just across the playing field, there's a need just for more black professionals. And when it comes to sports medicine, we can't be so many black people in the country, so many doctors. But we say that in rugby there's only one. That makes no sense, or only two if we use Gershwin as well. To me, that makes no sense. I don't think that is something that's not being worked on. I think everyone is approaching this with a view of trying to make sure that, one, you get good quality people in, people that are well trained and prepared for what it is they're doing. We are fortunate in that maybe where I tend to also work as an independent contractor is at the Lions Rugby Union, and there's an opportunity as a I look after their match day medical services. Within that opportunity, then it's easy enough to create opportunities for black doctors, be it specialists, orthopedic surgeons or neurosurgeons, or whether it's sports medicine practitioners who want to gain more experience. But I realize that, I don't know, it's on each of us to take that responsibility up. I'm not saying one over the other. I'm just saying to make sure that we give opportunity So I'm not saying that I will purposely go and say, no, the white doctor is not welcome. But I will say that once there's a black colleague who is looking for opportunity, I will hopefully be able to give them the kind of opportunity that gives them the exposure to the point that I've been given, that I can share that with them as well. So they can realize that there's more to be done. And you know what's funny is that we all have a finite period. We all have a sell by date. And the reality is just that if I'm working for the next, let's say, God willing, 40 years, and all I'm thinking of is just me, at some point something will happen to me. Does the work die afterwards, or does the work continue? So that's what we're about as well.
If one needs to be a sports doctor like yourself,
Yeah.
educationally,
Yes.
what is it that I have to do?
So medical degree is important. You need to get through that first. Once you finish your medical degree, you'll do as much as you need to where you owe the government. And then the next thing that follows is to start in sports and exercise medicine. Very nice course, very nice people that actually give the course. There's multiple universities to go to. Pretoria University close by, Wits University also offers. I studied through UCT, so the thing that was always tempting was the fact that Tim Noakes was at UCT. So it almost was, I don't know, like I've just come full circle. I'd started medicine with this one phone call from Tim Noakes, who I didn't know. And eventually I ended up in the same department with Tim Noakes, who I looked at and said, do you actually realize that I'm on this journey because you just made one phone call?
But if you look into the pool of doctors that we have,
Yeah.
most of them, they try and avoid this area of sports.
Yes.
What could be the reason for that?
I think some of the things that drive it is that we maybe have to look at how things have been historically. I think, again, how did our parents view sport? How did our parents view sportsmen? What did it mean that you were getting into sport? Did people ever understand it as a potential career? Did they ever see the opportunity within it? I feel like maybe most of our colleagues saw what was the likely route, which is, well, let me write college exams and be a pediatrician. Let me write college exams and be a surgeon. These were the things that, in essence, are well marketed. They're well marketed from a financial perspective as well. I mean, if you look at how well some of our colleagues are doing, you know, after they've completed their college exams, it's exceptional. So, you know, I don't blame people, but this one tends to become sometimes a bit of a passion project. I know I've hit rock bottom before where money was tough to come by because I'd chosen this pathway. So it is, you almost have to go into it with your eyes open. That's what I would say.
Dr. Jerome, apart from being a Springbok doctor, is there anything else that you do in your life other than being a Springbok doctor? If so, what is it that you do? And do you offer that to the public? And if you do, how can people interact with you and get hold of you?
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I should add, I work with Kaizer Chiefs, even though we're faltering. But my colleagues and I, Dr. Ngobeni, Dr. Mulungwa, and Dr. Moshe Macheti, we've started Sports Medicine Africa. And basically what we were aiming to do when we started this is to have a sports medicine practice that will look after not just, you know, maybe elite athletes or those athletes that you see playing for Kaizer Chiefs or playing for the national rugby teams, but that it looks after just the everyday weekend warrior. People day to day coming with flus, or if it's not flus, or that have regular injuries that actually need the kind of expertise to just try and help them get over the injuries they have. People are quite active these days. People cycle a lot, people run. People have been running longer than maybe even before we were born anyway. Our aims really is just to provide these expertise and these years of experience to people in the general public. So we've opened Parkside Center close to Rema. And it's our second year of being there, and it's not bad. You know, the opportunity with us is that patients coming maybe get an opportunity every now and then to rub shoulders with professional sports people. So that's one of our selling cards. But I think our primary draw card is that, look, we're committed to excellence as a company. We're committed to helping sports people, and not just sports people, but the general community actually get back to full health as well.
If people want to get hold of you, and access these services? How do they do that?
So we're available online. Our website is www.sportsmedicineafrica.com. The other way to reach us, one can call into the practice. The number is 011-568-9304. Other than that, we're also available on Twitter at Africa Medicine and on Facebook as well as Sports Medicine Africa.
Well, Dr. Jerome Mampane, it has been my pleasure having you to grace our studios.
No, thank you very much.
And we are honored and humbled to sit just by you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, viewers out there, I am Charles Ngobeni signing off on Marketplace with Charles. You can get hold of me on charlesngobeni.com, Instagram Charles_Ngobeni, or you can go on my Facebook page and like me. I would love to hear from you. I would love to interact with you. I'd love to know how the program is impacting you, how the program has changed your lives. Well, see you next time, same place.
Join Marketplace with Charles on an 11-day tour of the Holy Land. Take the route Israel traveled to the Promised Land. Cross over the Red Sea and float on the Dead Seas, the lowest point on earth with amazing healing properties. Experience the vibe of Jericho and cruise on the Sea of Galilee to Capernaum, the hometown of Jesus. Visit the pools of Bethesda, Nazareth, Bethlehem, and many more. Walk where Jesus walked and see the Bible come alive. If beautiful memories and an enriched spirit is what you are looking for, then join us in taking Jesus to the marketplace. For more information, call us on +27 72 123 0078 or email israel@artofskincare.co.za.